All right, Michele, thank you very much for joining us on the InnoHyve Podcast today. Today we're going to be, talking a little bit about you, Hibot, your background, what led you to, your current situation, and trying to have the audience understand more about basically why they should actually apply for a job at Hibot. I guess, Michele, tell us first of all a bit more about you, and how did you get into robotics? Like, what is your background? How did you become the CEO of Hibot? Like, walk us through the journey a little bit.
Okay. I'm Italian. I came to Japan back in 2001 through a scholarship, and I ended up in one of the most famous laboratories of robotics, basically in Japan. And there I met the other co-founder, Paolo, and he's mechanical engineer. I was coming from computer science, basically, so more control stuff. And basically, we decided to bring the know-how that we had in the laboratory, basically, to the society to help people, basically, in robotics. We used to work on different type of application when we were in the laboratory, but now we're focusing on especially in infrastructure inspection and maintenance applications, right? So that's where we started, basically, back in 2004. Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago. So basically you come with the software knowledge, Paulo with the mechanical engineering background. And how does it happen? You guys discuss about, we should build a robot together. Like, how do you get from that point you described to actually having a
Well,
company?
Well, basically, the thing is that we were working on the same projects, but I was obviously taking care of the software side and partially even of the electronic side. He was taking care of the mechanical side. And I remember I went up to him. I mean, I came to Japan with the idea that I wanted to establish a company, basically. So I told him, why don't we do it in Italy, actually, because he had the opportunity to get even the passport for Italy. So we literally decided to open up in Italy. So I still remember that I went back to Italy at one point and we found a place where we could find also fundings to start the company. Then I came back to Japan. I told him we found the place and so on. But when discussing to the professor, we told the professor, if we find some projects by doing this startup, give us some time. And then he was the professor saying, well, why don't we do it in Japan together? And that was it. I mean, I went up to the university and I asked if I could start a company. They were saying no, because basically they didn't know if a foreigner could do that or not. We went up to the immigration office. They told us, yeah, that was okay. And we decided to start the company. That was the beginning, yeah.
Wow. Did you speak Japanese at the time, or?
No, not really, actually. It happened after that, basically, because when we started the company, we got right away one of the major projects for us at that time. That was the development for a system for power line inspection. And we were working with a very big with a long history company from Japan. So all the people were speaking just in Japanese. So we were really struggling, actually. Sometimes we were pulling some Japanese to help us in communicating with them in the field. So it was really tough at the beginning. But that was the time when we started to pick up the language, because we needed to express things, to explain situations. They were also trying their best to speak something, to say something in English. But basically, we were moving on more, picking up the language. Yeah.
So in the beginning, like I guess you go with Paulo. You guys start the company. You get like funding right away, or like how does it work?
No. Actually, we are having a history that is kind of different from the usual, I would say, because basically we started as a really think tank laboratory. So we started to get a lot of projects. It was the time also in which there was the switch from the shift, from analog control to digital control. So we were also having components that we're using right now as a core technologies. We're not selling them anymore, but at that time we were selling those components to make robotics applications. So we basically started like that, and we had projects. So it was fun. I mean, it was fine. We could just move on with every single project and so on. So there was no need of funding. We were involved with some projects and so on. Only in 2015 we decided to look into our own product, really, because we were developing things for others, right? So that was the time when we started to look into fundings, and we started to get basically VCs in Hibot.
I see. So basically, in the beginning, Hibot was more like a pure R&D company,
Yeah.
and designing for others.
Exactly. So
Basically.
we were engaging in different type of stages in the projects, like making, for example, the mechanical design for some companies. Some other projects were more looking into developing a prototype and bringing it to the field. In some other cases, it was more software control and so on. So we were doing different things, but all related to robotics, obviously, because we were
Right.
coming with the know-how from the Tokyo Institute of Technology, right? So
Right,
yeah.
right. So I guess like it's probably closer to actually consulting that you guys
Yeah,
were
exactly.
doing.
Yeah, it was a consulting basically work, and we started to see, in some cases, of course, when you have some R&D as a customer was coming with the R&D budget, and you do the development of something, and then maybe the project was stopping there, or they were going ahead with the product, and sometimes we felt like, oh, this actually could be a good solution.
Yeah.
And always having to look into the opportunity if the customer will go ahead or not. Of course, we wanted to do also some things that we felt they were good solutions.
Yeah.
And obviously you would need resources for that. At the same time, we had also the project I mentioned, the first project for the power line inspection system. We wanted really to explore the possibility to go toward the deployment in the field, really, not as a prototype, but actually as a product. So we decided to step up. And that was the time when we started to get investments, basically. Although there was the big pivot in 2020, right? After all, yeah.
What was the pivot in 2020?
Well, basically, we decided to step up as a company and move toward the robot as a service model to make it happen. So at that time, we spoke with the new investors that came in as leader investors, and we started to focus on only three solutions mainly. The thing is that because of our history, we have a very wide technology portfolio, and it was challenging to say I'm going to do this and not going to do that. So the selection came in a kind of natural way because we saw companies coming over and they were looking for the same sort of solutions. So we thought, okay, what especially one item that we did for the Fukushima power plant could become a good product, which is one of the major items for us at the moment. So obviously that was needing resources. So we spoke with the new investors, and we decided to focus on those three main items, plus the digital platform, which is a sort of hub among these robotic solutions, right?
The high box, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like several questions, Michele, but like one of them is like so you have this bachelor in computer science. I think then you have like a master in mechanical and
And
aerospace, I
space
believe,
engineering,
right?
yes,
Check your LinkedIn.
and the PhD
And the
after
PhD
all.
in
Yeah, yeah,
robotics.
yeah.
Like where does the whole like business sense come from? Because a lot of people in your situation, they even though they want to bring their product to the field, they kind of get stuck, right? Raising money, like this whole aspect of like even productizing the whole thing. Like how do you get there? Like did you study afterwards like an MBA? Like how did you get there?
No, actually, I think that was just experience in crashing against walls here and there, basically.
Yeah.
So, understanding, you have to, at least my own point of view, you have to understand that you're gonna get a lot of no, basically. And the point is that when you get a no, is not a point where you actually have to get blue, but on the contrary, you have to build up your next steps based on those no's that you're getting, right? So why is that a no in this moment or in a different moment of a development and so on? That's the important part, I think. So we really understood what we needed to have as a proposition to our customers, basically, right? At the same time, customers were coming over and giving information on their pains, right?
Right.
What they wanted to have, what they are looking for, and we started to get all the pieces together, basically. So that's I think it's just experience, basically. I mean, I enjoy a lot to speak with people, to talk a lot on what people are looking for. So I started to be as a CEO of the company from 2020, but before I was more like on the business and sales side.
Yeah.
So you start to have an overview of what the market is looking for and what you can offer. So I think it was just a matter of putting the pieces together, basically. So I think we're in that place right
Interesting.
now. Yeah.
Would you consider yourself more like an engineer actually now, or more like on a salesperson? Because the what you mentioned about like getting no's and growing from that, that's like I come from a pure sales background. That really resonates with me. But the engineering side, like as much as I love tech, I'm not excited about building stuff myself. Like I love to understand how it works. I love how to figure out how to sell a solution.
Yeah.
But building is not something. Where do you see yourself now? Like,
Well, it's both actually, because I think it's important. I mean, you can't just, when you have to sell something, you can go in a very wild way and oversell something. But if you go and sell something with knowing what really can be done, you're gonna make the customer comfortable, I think. So I really keep track on the of the technical side at the same time. Of course, I need to now. I'm more focusing on management side because of my position.
yeah.
But I like to every once in a while to go and speak with the teams and see where they're going, especially with the product leaders, to understand where they're thinking to take each solution, and if that path that they're looking at is actually in line with what I'm thinking, what I see from the market as well. So
Yeah.
I like to keep
Yeah,
track
that
of
makes
that.
sense. Probably also allows you when you talk to a customer to be like, okay, this is feasible, this is not, and like because
Yeah.
you have a technical knowledge. Where if you were a pure salesperson, you'll probably always say, yeah, this is feasible, and like
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes also you see people appreciating the fact that you have a PhD. Sometimes you say, "Oh, a CEO with a PhD," but in many cases they say, "Okay, so I'm talking to somebody that also has some know-how on the technical side.
yeah.
It's not just doing the selling side."
Mm.
So you can establish very nice conversations, because you can really you don't have to just say that you can do everything. You can be very open and very straight to the point and say, okay, this is not a solution that fits your needs. And sometimes we actually also direct our customers to other companies that would give them the right solution. So I think it's really a matter to be open and share
Yeah.
their needs, basically.
Like, I mean, obviously, like tech is very broad, but like robotics is probably one of the most challenging industries to go in. Right, the hardware is expensive. You
Yeah.
cannot make too many mistakes. Like why do you want to help people through those kind of solutions? Like, why not just go for a SaaS product that makes people's life a little bit easier? And like, because you come from the software background, like why the robotic aspect?
Well, initially, my interest on the robotics aspect was really because I was studying electronics at the high school and then software. So I really wanted to actually have those two subjects making sense for moving hardware. So the how they call it in Japanese, monozukuri, right, is what I wanted to do to build things. So being able to control them and to build the right solutions for the customers was really the main target. And now, because of the field we're looking at, we are addressing the issues that our customers have in going into confined spaces, in
Yeah.
places where people should not go or they cannot go, and that is not something that you can solve with. So I mean, of course, sometimes you can solve with software if you have the right set of data. But in general, basically, there are people that every day they go inside these kind of infrastructures. They put at risk their life to collect data, to understand what is the status of those infrastructures. So you need something physical to go there. So we're not making a solution that will remove the work, the job of those people. We are literally extending their limbs, basically. So we give them another tool. So I actually prefer to call our system more like tools rather than
Yep.
robots, because that's what they are. So.
Like what the I mean, I'm aware of the vision mission of Hibot, but for the audience, like, what is the vision and the mission for Hibot, and like,
Well, we want to make the world really a better place with robotics. That is our mission, and we see that happening because we are engaging with globally with. I mean, our customers are two-thirds of our customers actually from abroad, big corporations, and we see all these companies looking to change the way things are done, and we enjoy doing that. So our mission is really to be the game changer for those companies, basically. But from the very beginning, when we started the company, we wanted to help people. That was our goal at the beginning, and it's still our goal. If there was a business model behind that or not, that was a different story from the very beginning. So that didn't change. So when we get requests from possible companies that are looking into something just for decreasing cost only, or removing number of people in their work environment, I mean, we don't engage with those actually. We really want to do something where they really need an extra solution and something that can improve the way they're doing their job, basically.
Mm. Like, so for me, obviously, like we've been working together for like over 4 years now, and
Yeah.
I'm always in the market, also, pitching Hibot to people. And the thing that I always put forward is like the fact that it's a company that saves human lives, right? That's how I kind of engage in the conversation. But like, is there a way for you guys to measure like how many actually lives you save? Because I mean, the industries that you're changing, there's obviously statistics on like that many people
Yeah.
die in that kind of inspection. Like, is there a way for you guys to measure? Is this something you guys try to keep track of?
Well, I mean, actually, that's a topic that came up even recently with one group that is looking into iBot to set sort of KPIs in those
Yeah.
terms, right? It's not easy, obviously, but we can see, for example, we had one application in Europe where our system was utilized, and you can tell the amount of radiation that were not affecting the people in that case, right? Or the simple fact that now, in another application, we're looking into removing people from entering into aircraft wings, for example, right? Of course, it's difficult to measure what is the damage that those people can get, right? But the simple fact that those people are not going maybe on a power line 150 meters high place, and not anymore inside a vessel tank, a confined space. You mentioned about how many people are dying and so on. For example, from United States, like about 100 to 110 people in average, they're dying every year because of entering in confined spaces, right? That's a huge number, since even just saving one life would be a major item for us. It happened with the Fukushima power plant, right? I mean, they didn't have any way to enter in the reactor, and seeing the person smiling, even though, I mean, of course, it was a terrible situation, right? But seeing this person smiling because he's able to control the system far away in a safe condition with a gamepad, a system that goes inside this reactor where the radiation levels are crazy.
Yeah.
But seeing the person able to get the data that they need, it was just such a big reward for us,
Yeah.
So, of course, I mean, what we tried to do then afterwards was to connect what we're doing also with some more improvements that they can get with, so combining the data side of those applications, right? Because, yes, you want to go and make a hole in the wall, for example. That's what you want to do. Whatever you use for doing that it's okay, basically. But then once you have the hole, you can actually collect data about it, right? And then what can you do for improving the lifespan of that asset, for example? That's where we're trying to work also.
Yeah, I guess that's a real impact, right? Like, obviously, that person that controls with the gamepad and everything is safe, but the next level is like using that data to avoid any other person who has to do it.
Yeah.
And you can really know when to do it, I guess. The data allows you to know when to do the inspection.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be constant. Obviously, you have to be disciplined in your digital transformation process. If you just want to avoid having data on a paper and pass on a digital platform, is one thing. But if you have you means like the corporation from the management side, they have this long-term view in order to bring innovation in their operations. You really can actually change the way things are done and decrease your cost as a consequence, right? So because you start to look at the asset from a different point of view, and instead of having just a fixed schedule for inspection and maintenance, you can start to actually schedule those operations based on the data you collected, because you have a sort of repeatability, right? If you don't have repeatability, it doesn't make sense, obviously, right? So that's why these solutions, they're bringing repeatability with the data, and then customers can start to use them in order to improve.
Makes sense. Makes sense, yeah. You're basically building up systems based on that as well.
Yeah.
For you, Michele, like, what is the biggest challenge you're facing as a CEO, like, of the company right now, and also back, like, to get to where you are? Like, what are the biggest challenges?
Well, I mean, the biggest one right now is the fact that we have the possibility to scale globally. So we want to do it quickly. Of course, the environment, I mean, is not maybe the best for fundraising and so on, but we've been lucky enough to get the right resources, enough resources. So we're now really scaling up a lot. But I'd like to speed up that process. So that is what we are trying to do. Because speeding up means also having our solutions available at a global level, so not only in the United States, but even in the Middle East or in South America, Asia, and so on. So for a small group, for a small company, is not easy, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest challenge, to do it in the proper way, obviously.
How many people in the company now?
We're about 48
48.
with the management, yeah.
Yeah. And how many countries are you in right now?
I think we have like 18, 19 countries altogether, yeah.
Wow.
So it's a very...
So 18 countries where your robots are deployed, you're collecting data and...
well, sorry. I mean, I meant people. If you, I thought you were talking about the nationality of the people.
Oh, no,
But
like...
the machines are going basically almost everywhere. It's just a matter of having enough hardware to send around, because we do robot as a service model, meaning that we're also renting the machines, right? So, for example, there was one machine. It was in the United States, came back to Japan. It went 2 locations, and then it went to Germany for Europe, and now it's gonna go in the Middle East. We have talks coming for Korea, Australia, Africa. Of course, we cannot go everywhere, obviously, but we're trying to engage with major customers, and in order to show the traction, the direction. Because afterwards will be a matter only of scaling up, basically, to have those solutions available in those regions.
Yeah. Is the current bottleneck, is it like not having enough, basically, robots to deploy?
Yes,
is
exactly.
that what it is?
So we're really accelerating that part. Obviously, when you were mentioning about the SaaS and RaaS, right? I mean, hardware is art, as we know. It takes time. Also, the situations in the world, from pandemic to geopolitical situations, can actually cause issues to the supply chains. So it's easy to say, I'm going to have these machines available and this is my business plan, but the components that you're looking at, you have to make sure that you can get them, right? So you have to be ready to react to some issues that can come up. That was during the corona, right? We couldn't find some components that we were using, maybe 100 of them in one solution, and the price went up 50 times, and it was not possible to accept that. So we needed to roll back and redesign some electronic components in order to be able to produce those machines quickly, right? So those are issues that...
I remember meeting, I don't think you were there, but I met your team. Like, there was Paolo, there was Salvatore as well, I think. Maybe Neil as well, I don't know, at the airport in Belgium, actually. There was a demonstration. I literally met them in the airport.
Yeah, we went to during the Corona time.
I remember, and I was like,
that was, I mean, it is our major product, let's say, right now, and being able to go to the field and try the system, it's an amazing situation for us, because we can actually see how the machine behaves in the field, right? During the Corona, suddenly, as you remember, Japan, as other countries, but in particular Japan, was very closing up so much that didn't allow people to go out, right? So we were afraid that if we go out, we cannot get back. But at the same time, we wanted to go because we had this great opportunity to try the machine. So it was really crazy time.
Yeah, that's how I met Paolo. We were in the same hotel for the quarantine. That's how we met. It's not at the airport. We met at the hotel, actually. I was like, wait, you're quarantined here as well. And that was
then
like,
I was probably
5
also
business
there
days.
in quarantine as well.
Yeah. I did it many times, like, because I kept traveling during COVID anyway, because I was like, I don't know when it's going to end, right? So it's like, well, just do the quarantine.
Yeah, center point, we were talking to our people as well. Of course, some people were more afraid. They were saying, I don't feel comfortable because maybe we cannot get back. And I understand, everyone has his own priorities. Everyone has his own hopes and so on. So we were discussing, and we decided with the team, okay, we are okay to go with this team. So let's move on and go.
In terms of the current situation, Michele, like, I mean, scaling the company, obviously you need more talent. I think that's always the issue, right? Like, I mean, I've been working in the robotics market for like close to 5 years, trying to recruit for companies all the time, and it's hard. Like, what kind of people are you guys looking for, like, right now? What is the personality you're looking for? Like, what is the ideal kind of candidate for you guys, besides the hard skills, but more like on the soft skills and like,
Well, I mean, from the character point of view, I mean, what we need are people that are ready to challenge themselves, to get out of the comfort zone. I mean, I always say to many of the guys that if you're just looking for yet another job, another possibly salary or whatever, another situation, that should not be the reason why you enter Hibot, actually. I hope that people that are in Hibot and are going to enter in Hibot are actually sharing the same goal, which is really changing the world with robotics. And you can see that because we're talking about huge, large corporations that They are looking for a new solution that will change the way things will be done. So you're part of it, actually, right? So if you and it's tough. It's tough because you go to the field, you find out that you didn't consider something during the design phases, and you have to roll back, redesign things, get back again, go back again, say sorry to the customer. These kind of things should happen because they are mistakes, but you should learn from those mistakes, right? So if you're not strong enough, it could be tough, right? So we want people that they share the passion for attaining the goal that we are looking at.
Yeah, being able to work on something without seeing the result on a daily basis, kind of thing, right? Like you're working towards a bigger goal.
Of course, before when we were more like consulting phase, it was even tougher, I would say, because you were working on something that didn't exist. Even right now, we're working on something that didn't exist, but right now we are actually expanding those solutions to different applications. So it's less tough than before, but still they are coming to us because they already tried all the ways possible to solve those issues, right? So they're coming to us to find a solution. And that's where we are bringing our know-how, right? So sharing and also the timeline can be sometimes a bit tough, right? I mean, you need to be ready to change the pace you're having according to the situation. But again, like I mentioned before, seeing the customer happy about what they are doing, it's an amazing reward, as engineer.
Yeah.
So sharing that is very, very important, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I hired a lot of people for you guys, and I think every person joins for the mission, basically, because there's so many other fields that they could get into that are way less challenging than building a robot to save a life. And it's like, I mean, like you say, the whole situation since 2021, I guess, makes it even more challenging. Now you're really playing in the hardcore mode, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I do believe that, I mean, people do, even a lot of people come asking me sometimes, about you guys and stuff. And it's kind of what I say is like, you should go for the right reasons because it's not easy, but like, I think if you have the right mindset, you're going to be surrounded by like those 40 plus people in your company.
I mean, at the end, you see customers that are saying that basically if that solution works, from that point ahead, the asset design will change in order to fit that robotic solution, and that's an amazing thing. I mean, what you build becomes a standard,
Yeah.
So it's a huge opportunity, I think.
Yeah. Like for what do you tell people who are like right now, considering to apply for Hibot? Like, what is the future like for you guys? Like, why should they be excited about the next steps for you guys?
Well, again, maybe I'm gonna be repeating myself, but we are going global and at a very high pace. The fact that we have so many companies contacting us to the level that we can take care of everything shows that we're offering something that is needed and wanted. So there's an opportunity really to make a difference. The view of Hibot basically is to become really, I mean, we're proposing hardware, as I mentioned before, as an extension of limbs of people, right? Because at the end, it's a connection. The real point is that we start to collect a new set of data that if it's going to be utilized in the proper way, you can change how those assets are being managed, right? So I see ourselves really becoming the gas platformer for infrastructures. We start to see sets of data that are similar in the same region, Europe, United States, or Middle East, but even in Japan, inside Japan as well, right? You go to the same place and you start to see how that asset is changing, right? So you see opportunities on how you can manage those data, and that's a big opportunity for Hibot.
It's like a standard is being set, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
With the, because I mean, at least for the people that I know in Hibot and what I know about the product, there doesn't seem to be yet a lot of AI being used, right? Like, for example, like LLMs as well. Like, are you guys planning to start using those as well to kind of
Actually, we're using it. For example, we have a system for boiler inspection, and every single pie we get 75,000 points for a single pie when we actually are doing hundreds of those in one emission, right?
Right.
So yeah, we're using those points actually to adjust the way those measurements are made.
Okay.
So there's an AI algorithm running like that in that case. The platform Highbox, the framework was made so that it could accept also algorithms coming from third parties. So sometimes we have the inspection provider that has an algorithm that can actually get plugged in, or we have right now opportunities to build actually some of those for detecting things that maybe the person cannot really take care of. So
Right.
in real time we can do that. So we're starting to do that part as well. There is also AI related to the machine themselves also to detect when a failure in the hardware could happen. We have so much data from the operations that have been used, right?
Yeah.
So those data can be used, and there is some people looking into that as well for starting to say, okay, before there's a problem in the field, we can actually detect an issue that could happen in some
Right.
part of the arm and so on. But the whole point goes back to the fact that the opportunities where the fact that we can get different type of data, which is very high level. High level meaning with a lot of details that can be used to really judge what is the status of a certain asset, right? And those data can be taken just because we have a specific hardware that goes there, right? If you can get the data in a different way, I mean, you don't have to use Hibot, basically.
Yeah.
That's a matter of fact, right? That is where we're starting to use those part of software. Yeah.
I guess that's the barrier to entry as well to competition for you guys, right? Because not every company can, like you say, inspect those actually infrastructures and collect that data. Like you guys have the hardware to do it, and nobody else really has. So
Exactly.
you kind
So
of set the
sometimes we
standards.
have companies that are working on AI and then don't have this set of data. So they talk to us and say, okay, we can
Yeah.
use our system, of course, but we have also the set of data right now, and we have, as a minimum, we can offer that layer that connects the hardware to the management of the data, right? But then from there we can scale up, right?
Yeah.
And start to offer more and more services related to that. That's where we're growing right now.
In terms of like, that's a question that I ask because I meet a lot of people in the research field, and they try to move towards more the industrial side of things, but very often it seems hard for them to land a job. Like they're kind of stuck in academia very often. So they will go for interviews, and often they won't pass the interview. It's like too technical, or like I'm not sure. Like they haven't done actually hands-on projects like with deadlines and in an
Okay.
industrial setup. What kind of advice would you give to those people who want to move from academia to industrial and production?
Well, I mean, you just said, I mean, it's really the capability to manage the project, not just for the output, but even for the timeline. That's something that always when we cooperate a lot with universities, right? And again, it goes to priorities, right? And those laboratories, they have the priority to publish papers and so on.
Yeah.
For us, instead, is to make our customer happy, right? So you have to be able to manage expectations. Sometimes you can't just look for something that is completely innovative, but maybe the solution is very simple, but it's going to be so much widely used in the market, right? So you have a solution that can be going out in the industrial point of view, right? So being able to look at the problem not only from the R&D or academic point of view is actually very important. So managing timeline, being able to look at the solution, keep it simple as much as possible, and able to
Cost.
deploy it as soon as possible, basically.
And the cost aspect probably as well.
Of course,
right?
the cost goes with it, but at the end, if you are able to solve a problem that the customer is looking for, the cost is the last issue, I think. Because if it changes the way things are done, the advantages are way beyond the problem of cost.
So I will go through rapid fire questions. You didn't
Yeah.
see them before. So your favorite way to spend your free time, what would you say it is?
I'm still playing video games, actually, and spend time with my family.
What kind of video games?
Mainly sports.
FIFA?
Soccer,
Yeah.
even different type. Yeah.
So the only game I play is
so,
FIFA.
yeah,
So, favorite sci-fi movie?
Back to the Future. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Team sports or individual sports? Which one?
Team sport.
Team sports, of course.
I've been playing with that. Yeah, that's what I like.
If you could invent any robot, what would it be? What will it do?
What it is doing right now, the one of iBot. So I think we have it. We're doing that. I'm already doing that.
Nice, nice. You're exactly where you should be. Favorite Japanese dish?
I would say tonkatsu.
Tonkatsu.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
That's a good question. It would be to make all my people happy.
Nice. Nice, simple. If robots ruled the world, what would the first law be that they pass?
I would answer in the way like robots will not rule the world.
Okay.
That's our vision. We always keep the man in the loop, so we're not gonna have that kind of situation in our case.
Especially you guys are controlling him with the gamepad, right? So
Yeah,
you keep control.
Again, I mean, as I mentioned, those are tools really. It's like having
Yeah.
a screwdriver with
Yeah.
more automation, basically. So that's what we're doing, and you're in control of it.
I like it. I have a lot of Italian friends, Michele, so something that I need to ask you is pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No, of course.
Okay.
Of course, definitely no.
That's all right, Michele. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining us on the InnoHyve Podcast. It's a pleasure, and yeah, it was the first episode, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.